Hi, today I'm going to be installing the Bluetti DC to DC charger in that bus, Myrtle the Turtle, that you see right over my shoulder. Now you may be asking, why did I choose the Bluetti DC to DC charger when I could have chose the Orange Eddy DC to DC charger or even the Red Eddy DC to DC charger? I went with the most economical solution for me. Bluetti it is. I don't even think this microphone will register from this far away, but maybe it will. Testicles 1, 2, 3. Testicles, yeah, should still have audio. Now when I get in the vehicle, I don't know about that. See if it cuts out. We are in the bus. But will she start is the question. Yeah. Like a professional. Look at that. We have oil pressure. Yeah, man, we're good to go. All right. Let's get her in the yard now. I greased up the sides with some dish soap, so it should slide right in, no problem. There's connections right there. Let's see if I can show you. Right there on that inverter. I'm gonna tap into those connections. Should be way more than enough for the DC to DC connection for the Bluetti. All right, so here's the situation. I have a bigger inverter I want to install. This, can you see me? No, you can't really, can you? Let me see if I can do something about that. All right, so here's the situation. This is where I'm going to tap into for the Bluetti DC to DC charger. I'm also going to be replacing this entire inverter with a bigger inverter. That's too small for what I want to do. That wire, that's probably, I don't know, maybe 10 gauge. Should be more than enough for what I want to do. Got to go get my meter and see if that's got power to it all the time. Yay, they did it right. Okay, the previous installers did this correctly. Hopefully those won't touch. No, they don't. All right, so I'm going to replace that, mount the charger off of those cables, and it's going to do what it do. So let me set you guys over here for just a moment. Turn this video off so I can get some tools out and get ready. I'll be back. All right, so I brought the Bluetti Elite V200 in the bus. I have some tools in the bus. I have my Bluetti wiring harness and the Bluetti DC to DC charger that we're fixing to install in the location y'all saw me speaking about earlier. Hardware kit. The charger itself really isn't all that big. It's smaller than the inverter I just took out. That's all there is to it. The Bluetti DC to DC charger. Again, I could have went with the Orange Eddy or even the Red Eddy, but I chose the Bluetti. All right, folk. I have a big inverter also we're going to install. I got to find it. It's somewhere down there. Anyway, this video is not sponsored by Bluetti or anyone else because my channel isn't even monetized yet, but I sure wish it was. Bluetti's just going to mount probably right there. Then I'm going to tap off those wires and probably go over here to install my bigger inverter, and that'll be that. Right, so let's see here. I don't want that positive on the touch because I'm not sure if those are live. Gonna go get my meter probably and find out if those are live. I had a drill somewhere. I've forgotten to go get it. Are we dealing with a live situation? I would imagine that we are. But let's find out. Yep, we have 12.10 volts. So I'm going to pop the hood and find out where that fuse is and disconnect it. Be right back. All right, they did not tap in under the hood for power, but I believe I see what they did. So let me move you guys. This is my panel for all my electrical stuff. It's up here above the driver's seat. There's two little silver thingies to let this thing fold down. And now you get a look at all this wiring. And I do believe that is where they tapped in. It has a fuse. So I'm going to pull that fuse and then take the meter again and do a test. Let's see if we have juice right there. I'm pretty positive we will not. And we're going to meter test again, set it on 20 volts DC. And let's see what we get. Now you guys keep an eye on it and just tell me what you see. We have about 0.12 volts. So good enough, that's a dead connection. Okay. This is your Bluetti DC to DC charger. It has input connections on one end, output on the other. Input, of course, comes from your battery. There's a little rubber flap right here up on top of the DJI, Lord have mercy, the Bluetti. That's where you get to your screws to clamp the cables down. It also comes with this cable right here that has a breaker in it. And the connections for that are right here. We're not going to use a bunch of this cable, but what we don't use, we're going to cut, and we're going to use it to wire in my other inverter. So we're going to put these in right now, positive and negative. You just open the little flap, put your tool in there and clamp it on down. The nice thing about these are that Bluetti made these square so they clamp down securely. And also when you clamp these down, and I've already clamped them down once, it puts a tiny dent right in the middle, but not on the end. So even if the screw comes loose a little bit, it still isn't going to slide out. But I'll keep this tool in the bus and I'll go back and retighten these down. I normally don't have trouble getting it in the hole. There we go. All right. Push the flap back down. This can be mounted under your hood, pretty much wherever you want to, other than on top of your vehicle. It's got to be out of the rain, but I think. All right, that's your output. That's the connection that's going to charge your device. You can use these if you want to and charge it via the solar ports, which is probably how I'm going to do it. So I'll go ahead and install these also. They are labeled positive and negative. Oops, got to unscrew those first. Giving them a tighten down. I purchased my own set of cables that'll plug from here into the Bluetti, which are way too long. I think I also have a shorter set. I kind of went crazy buying solar stuff for a little while there. I had planned to do a huge solar install on this bus with a mini split in here, and I still might do that. I live in Florida, and we get hurricanes, and we'd be without power for days at a time, which just sucks, a big one. So I wanted enough solar and batteries in here to run a mini split for 3 or 4 days without having access to power, only the sun. And during hurricane times, usually directly after the hurricane, there's plenty of sun, so it could keep the batteries charged. I wanted to put a couple of the, I think it was 380 amp hour batteries in here. I wanted a 48 volt system with a bunch of 500 watt panels on the roof, as many as I could fit. It was going to cost around, I want to say it was 13 to 14,000 by the time I'm done. So that's in the future. This Bluetti also comes with a bunch of little hardware. They give you extra screws and all kinds of stuff. But this is the bracket and 2 screws. That's the bracket and 2 screws that mounts your breaker, if I can hold on to them without dropping them. And all you do is you use the 2 screws and mount this on the wall, and then this just slides. Sorry, let me get it the right way. It just slides in there. There's little grooves for that to slide in, and that's how it's mounted on the wall. I'm probably going to, I don't know, even if you mount it, doesn't matter if you mount it horizontal or vertical, you may feel like that's going to slide off. It's a tight fit, it's not going anywhere, so mount it however you want to. But that will control power to the Bluetti DC to DC charger so it doesn't kill the battery. And I'm going to get started on getting this mounted. So I'm going to put you back where you're supposed to be and I got a little bit of wiring and stuff to do to tap into the wires that are already there. I'm going to share that one connection for my larger inverter and this DC to DC charger. The Bluetti DC to DC charger will be off when I'm using the inverter, and the inverter will be off when I'm using the DC to DC charger. I don't really see myself ever actually even using that inverter because that's what I have the Bluetti for. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to install that inverter. I don't need it. I have a Bluetti Elite 200V and I have a DJI 1000 that I carry every time we go camping. So I don't need that inverter. I'm not even going to install it. I'm just going to install this. And I think that I'm going to take this TV out because we've never even once used this TV. And I don't think we will, if I'm being honest. I can at least swing it up out of the way some. Get my sister's ride out of the way, this broom. Just kidding, y'all. I love that crab. Quite a lot, actually, if I'm being honest. Okay, my wire snips. Get that TV's power cord out of the way. Careful, Mr. Hunt, careful. Right. I don't know what these AV cables are, but they're gonna come out. We always take our iPads, and I have a MacBook MacBook Air that I take with us when we go camping, and I have an external hard drive loaded up with backups of all my movies, and we just watch those, so we really don't need a TV in here. Like I say, we've never even once used this TV. Wires can come down. That can come out. There. All right, now got that stuff out of the way for the most part. Now I'll have to take the 4 screws out of this panel, go behind there and unplug all that stuff, which is fine. This TV bracket's got to come out. Let's see if you guys are getting a good view of what I'm doing, and you are kind of. So let me pull this back a little bit. Now you can see. Oh, too big. Story of my life right there. What? Y'all think I'm lying? Yeah, I'm totally lying. Boy. It is what it is, y'all. You can't change who you are. God made you that way. He was born perfect. I'll put those 4 screws right back where they just came out of. I don't even know if this TV works. I want to say I powered it on once, but I could be mistaken. All right, now TV has been uninstalled. Let's get that bracket out. That sockets. I don't know if I brought big enough ones with me, but we're gonna find out. I did. Okay. Going to completely uninstall the bottom bracket. Oh, I don't have to do that. Never mind. Thought it was going to slide. They've got two nuts on the right side, so it's not going to go anywhere. Just wanted to see if it'll slide, and it's not sliding at all, so that's cool. Whoever did this had a little bit of brains about him. I like it. I like it a lot. And TV bracket is now loose. Now I'll take these two pole mounts off. I should have used the drill for this, it'd be way faster. Threads are a little bit widened out on this side, so can't do it with fingers because it's a little bit too, threads are messed up a little bit on one side. All right then. Okay. There's lock nuts on after that. That one's good to go. Now for you. That one definitely ain't coming off without the socket. And the rest of those threads are chewed up pretty decently. Wow, that's a whole lot more opened up. Phew-wee. Okay, put those sockets back. Those tools can go here. Actually, I could take these back inside because I'm done with them. So let me get some of this stuff out of my way, folk. I'll be right back. I can do this all in one load because I'm a man. And that's how we do stuff. Okay, now I can get to everything. Man, what a difference. What a difference. So, I'm not going to need all this wiring, so it's going to be cut. But I'll give you an idea of what I'm looking at here. Bluetti's going to mount right here. These are the cables that I'm going to tie into right here for power. And that's all there is to it. This will just run back to plug in. I could make this a whole lot easier and mount it upside down, but I'm OCD, and the word Bluetti is going to be upside down if I do that. But that is, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Stop being so weird, Leaf. So let me take this on down. So is that a solid connection? Yes, pretty much. Oh, left my tool, took my tool back inside and didn't realize that connection was there. Doggone it. Of course that would be tight. So I need another tool. I'll be right back. Get that star bit back out. Make sure you guys got the right view. And you do not. That's better for you. Okay. You know what I should do? Well, no, I'm going to cut them and put the ends on because the wiring's right there. There's no sense in running all new wiring when I don't have to. I am going to pull that panel down, though, right here and just see what's behind it. Get in front of your way over here real quick. Get in y'all's way. Okay. No wonder one of them's square. Why? Why, people? I'll definitely be replacing those with regular screws. Probably them right there. So I'll be right back. I need another dang tool set. Oh, got it. I have returned, folk. Okay, now. Put you right there. I've got the right bit for this now. Oh, boy. Now, get this out. That'll be easier with the right bit installed. Well, I tell you, when you're blind and you have to wear glasses that see close up out of the bottom and far away out of the top, that is some annoying stuff when you're trying to do stuff like this in a tight space. Oh well, that's all in a box. It's got a... Alright, camera's right in my way. There we go. Okay. I could take that whole thing out because I don't use it. Well, actually, I do use it. Okay, that's loose now. Set that off to the side. Surface mount cutter's right there. Wire tie in the trash. Now, while I have you up, what do we have here? We just have your common CD player and the radio for the vehicle. They custom made that box, no problem. That's no problem. It can all be tucked back in. And this just bypasses right around that to what I was thinking. So while I got this out, you go hang right there because you ain't really... No, I don't like that. Put you up there on the steering wheel. Let's see if I can... Or... Will that work? Better. There, now it ain't hanging and putting so much tension on those wires. Whew, okay. And the other one can go right there. That one can go right there. Yes, put you back here. Put you right there. Put the front end back in the drill. Well, that thing mounted up there good and tight. I like that. Oh, there's steel there, that's why. Cool, cool. This one go right here. Now that is not as tight of a secure, but it doesn't matter because the other ones are in there really good. And I can put a piece of metal on the back side of this, then screw those down tight so I can get to them. I cannot get to them. I should use self-tappers because there's a piece of steel, at least for that top one. And the bottom one, oh, it's in lumber, so that's good enough. Okay. I mean, that's not, good Lord, I can't even wiggle it. So yeah, that's not going anywhere. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, now, honestly, I can just take the ends off of this, re-terminate it with some of the ends Bluetti gave me. I don't even have to use these cables. So I'm going to do that. Let me get that tool and take the Bluetti cables out. Okay. Oh, you know what? I do need to use the Bluetti cables because of the circuit breaker. So I could make those. So yeah, I am going to do that then. That's fine. And I'll leave the circuit breaker outside. So let me put those back in the Bluetti. And I forgot about the circuit breaker. So input is negative. It's going to go there. And tighten it back down. And then input positive is the red one. And let's tighten it back down. Okay, now, and then this will mount I'm gonna mount this right here, and then those wires will connect up here and here. So we're going to have a little bit of wiring. It's just really no way to avoid most of it. It doesn't look horrible. I do believe that's how it's going to work. And then those leads will just connect right here and here. Boop, boop. Put some heat shrink tape on them. Put it all back together and we're done. Well, that's pretty easy, wasn't it? All right, now the bracket for the circuit breaker is right here with 2 screws. And we could mount it right here. Okay. Okay. Put the other one right here. And that is for the electrical bracket. Now we'll bring that back around again the way we just had it. And slide that puppy right on top of there. And that is that. Okay, now these wires, I'm going to cut about that long, and then that connection will be inside. You won't see these wires at all. As a matter of fact, I could tuck this hole. No, I can't, can I? That one's still got to be there. I could shorten that greatly, but if I do that, I got to put a new end on. So those will just go like that, and that's all you'll see sticking out. It's a little bit ugly, but I have to have that circuit breaker out here to be able to turn it on and off. That looks a little better, doesn't it? And I can, yeah, that'll look better. I think that's what we'll do. Yep, okay. So now these can be cut to their appropriate length. About that right there. same part right there. Good enough. Okay. Wire strippers. Y'all, I'm in love with this stripper. I'm in love with this stripper. Oh, best wire stripper ever. Look at that. If you don't have one of these things, it's called a Greenlee. Greenlee. Greenlee wire stripper. I could fit both of those, in one end. And then if I ever wanted to in the future, I could tap into that power. That's a better idea, I do believe. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So let me cut those wires. Cut the ends off of them. All right, now let me take my strippers to those. This might make getting this loose in the future if I had to. A bit of a pain in the butt, but it's going to be all right, y'all. All right, strip the positive for this one. Hydraulic crimpers, man, these things are, well, they're just nice. And of course, I'll have to wrap this positive up with some black tape. Well, I'm going to wrap them both, actually. Because you don't want the ground touching anything hot in the back. So when you do this kind of stuff, don't do it the cheap way, y'all. So this is what it will be. Negative and negative together like this. And then that crimp down, and then I'll black tape that up. I think I need to strip off a little more wire. No, that's good enough. All right, so I've got my crimper in there. Number 16 die. So I'm just going to jam the wires in there and crimp her on down. Whoop. Put it back together. Let me get that crimp sitting there the right way. All right, now I've got the crimp even with the edge of this die so that I'm crimping on the very end. So let me get the two negatives together again. Hold on just a minute, I need a table or something in here set up right near me. Just going to twist these around where they're pretty compact. Okay, that's nice. Now, get these two in that hole. Wish I could get a better shot of this for you, but I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. All right, now, crimp her on down. That. Now, those two wires are crimped together, and that ain't coming out. And I can just black tape that all up in the future if I ever need to tap into a ground. I have one right there. So get my electrical tape. And we're going to do the method called taping the stew out of this thing. And then once I'm done here, I'm probably going to put some heat shrink over it also. Just to be safe. This helps it not come undone down the road from wiggling. Although I have found that hydraulic crimps, I haven't had one come undone yet. All right, now for the positive, let me go ahead and get the old connection mounted here. Positive and positive. Make sure that the positives are positively in there. Got to twist that up a little better. Now, I think this wire is a little bit bigger in size than that ground I had over there, so that's fine. These are going to go in a little bit tighter. That's wrapped up nice. Now, let's see what you do. If I just had 1 or 2 more hands I could use. Okay, there we go. Yeah, get yourself in there. Okay, now. That's it. Okay. Yeah, that's in there good. And Bluetti DC to DC charger is now wired. Not loud because I got to put the fuse back in first. And put some heat shrink on these things. I have a bad habit of mumbling when I'm doing stuff like this. I don't know why I do that. And the audio might be a little bit loud right now because I'm in closed quarters with this air conditioner above my head here, right at my face. All right, go get some heat shrink tubing and my lighter. All right, I am back with a piece of red and black heat shrink tubing. It's probably way too large. Yeah, I don't even know if that's going to shrink down enough. We're going to try it and see. It's probably too big. But let's find out what happens. It might work. Yeah, she shrunk on down there a little bit. Okay. The black one. Yeah, that's still working. Taking a lot of heat to get her down there, but okay, yeah, it's on there good. All right. Ain't coming off. That gives me a great extra layer of protection. Whew, that's a little warm. I'll do that a little bit more. I think that one could be a little tighter. All right, now let them cool off. And drop that on those cords, but. And the stereo fell out the front. So I got to see how that mounts in there and get all that rectified. All right, let me tuck my wiring back in, y'all, and get things squared away here. Let me put on here. Okay, you get in there now. Okay, that's all back where it's supposed to be. Looking all purty and stuff. And that's just gonna sit right there and fall out on my head when I'm driving down the road probably one of these days. Get the right screws out here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully these are long enough so I can put these back in and I don't have to use the other ones. They might be long enough. 2, 3, 4, okay. Maybe, probably not. Doggone it. Oh well. That means I'm gonna need some longer drywall screws. So I will be right back, folk. I needed a pair of pliers anyway, so what I'm going to be using is that big old drywall screw right there. Put inside that little metal piece, and that's that. That's definitely going to work. Here we go. All right, number 4. Beautiful. Okay. All right. And a little zip tie action over here for this part. Then we're going to put a fuse back in, and pretty much we done. Okay, she's installed upside down, and I don't like that one bit, but she's done. What do you think, folks? It's a halfway decently clean installation. So I'm gonna set you right here and get this angle correct. Now let's get the fuse back in. Bluetti should now be live. Once I trip that breaker. All right, she should be on right now. So I'm going to get my correct cable out, hook it to the Bluetti, and see if she's charging. If she's not, that's when I start crying a little bit. This cable comes with the Bluetti, and it just has MC4 on one end, and the other end has that other thing. This is on one end, these are on the other. So all we need are these 2 positives and 2 negatives. That's easy enough. And you can't get it wrong when you're hooking them up, even if you want to. All right, that goes here. Bring you over here. This is where you plug in to charge solder in the Bluetti. Let's power it on. All right, currently we have no juice coming in. So let's take this. It only hooks in one way, so you can't get that wrong either. Let's see, DC to DC input. What we're getting right now, nothing. Did I have the breaker off? Let me turn the breaker back on. Nope, that's probably off. Maybe I have to start the bus. I thought that was hot all the time. Let me see. Give me just a minute. I'll put the keys in. Be right back. All right, folk. Got a thing going on right now where I have no charging coming in for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden charging comes in. My charger up there is flashing green. This will charge like this for a minute or two, well, maybe a minute. Then it'll go back to 0. I don't know if that's because the Bluetti's at 99% or not. See how the DC charging went out up top here? Now in a few minutes it'll come back. And now that it's not charging, that light's green when it's flashing now. When it's flashing, it charges on the Bluetti, but it won't charge for very long before it turns right back off. And while it's charging, that light blinks green, but whenever the charging goes out here, that light goes to rapid green, and then it'll go to solid green. Here in a moment, there it's solid green, but no charging. Then it'll start charging here, and that light goes back to flashing. It'll start charging now. Water just coming up. So I don't know, I gotta do some reading and watch some videos and see why that happens. So as a test, I decided to hook up my solar panels. I have a 400 watt portable solar panel. It's hooked up outside now. And she's getting a steady 224 watts, somewhere in that area. And it is not cutting out. So why it's cutting out with the Bluetti DC to DC charger, I don't really know. Gonna have to watch more videos to find out. But for now, with solar panels, she's working the right way. And maybe the voltage is just too low, hooked up how I currently have it hooked up. I may have to run a direct connection to the battery. I don't know. I'll find out though. Just wanted to give you all that update. Turn that fan off. I was just trying to pull a load from it to get the battery percentage to drop down from 100 to 99 to see if that's what was making it cut out, but that was not what it was. Anywho, all right, peace out. Poof. Well, it looks like I figured out what it was. Mr. Google Pants told me that I had to go in the Bluetti app for the charger, not for the power station here, but for the charger up there, and turn off adaptive charging. Once I did that, now it's got a steady charge coming in at 214 watts. Not too bad. I just feel like that wattage should be higher. So now I'll look into that next. Okay, a little more information for you. We're now getting 374 watts, and that's hooked to the Bluetti Elite, Bluetti DC to DC charger. Well, now it just kicked back out again. What I had to do, I had to go into the Bluetti app and select the Bluetti Elite 200 V2. That charges at 56 watts instead of 26. Now it'll probably kick back out again. So now is probably when I need to run a direct connection to the battery. Yep, just kick back out again. Okay. Well, time to do some more studying. All right, everyone, I'm back. I have figured out what the issue is. For me, I have to have a direct connection to the battery. I was trying to use the connection up there that my small inverter was getting power from. That's not going to work. So I will have to run a connection from the Bluetti DC to DC charger straight to the battery. I did that and it worked and it never cut out, and I got 540 watts continuous input. So that's what it is. Just want to let y'all know. Okay, welcome back to the Bluetti DC to DC charger video. So my solution to the problem I'm having is I'm going to disconnect the power connection that's currently on that end of the Bluetti right there. And instead of it going through behind the stereo that y'all seen me take out the other day, I'm going to go straight down to the floor, straight over to underneath the stairs, because there's a second battery right here. So I'm going to hook the power cable into that battery, and with a direct battery connection, it'll work just like it did with the front battery. So just got to drill a hole through the floor, run this cable down through there, over to the battery and hook it up. And that's going to be that. So stay tuned while I get that completed. Okay, I have a little bit of cleaning up to do. However, the new cable now no longer goes behind the radio. It goes straight down the wall into the floor. Through a hole right there, I got to seal with some foam, and that goes underneath over here to the battery under the steps. I have not wired underneath the bus to the battery yet, but I'm getting ready to do that next, so stay tuned. Okay folks, she's installed. Currently booting up as we speak. Oh, it just turned solid green, so it's booting. So we will see if I can get my camera to focus here. We will see DC charging start coming in. All right, about 500 watts, somewhere in that area. It is a little up and down, I've noticed, and I'm not sure why that is. But it doesn't cut out now, which is perfect. I can deal with whatever else. So she's finished. It's installed. It's still upside down, and I don't like that because I have OCD, but oh well. The cable now runs down the side, goes through the floor right there. Still got a little bit of vacuuming to do, but I have to get a more powerful vacuum out here because the one I have, it doesn't suck in the good way. But it's done. And man, what a pain in the you know what that was. I'm telling you, I couldn't film the part under the bus where I was trying to run that cable and drop that battery box. There's a battery right here under these stairs. And my God, I can't tell you how much of a pain in the butt that was. But I got it done. A little bit of perseverance, a whole lot of aggravation, and I'll be paying for what I did for about the next 2 weeks because I got a bad lower back and I'm old and soft as cotton. So, you know, when you combine those three things, I'll be paying for a while, but it's all good. All right, let me turn her off and get this bus pulled back out in this parking spot and get it out of the yard. Thanks for watching, y'all. Woo.